Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. Today we've got our first winner deck profile, something we'll be doing going forward after each event. We'll just be taking a minute to sit down with the winner of said event, go over their deck, their matchups, just kind of why they chose what they chose, and try to just bring a little bit more light to some of the decisions that are made with decks. I mean, we capture deck lists and things like that, but sometimes you can't get the full picture just reading a list of cards. So sometimes it's nice to get a little bit of insight from the source directly. So today I'm joined by Kevin, the winner of our fifth main event. It was a standard long form event. How are you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing great.
Good, 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 good. So let's talk about this deck. You piloted blue Majin Buu. That's a unique take in and of its own thing, and not just blue Majin Buu, but blue Divinity Mastery, recently named Majin Buu. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what's in your stack, just your deck? Let's go over it.
Yeah. So I noticed a trend in the standard format lately that Anger's been a big front runner for
Very
a lot of
much
people
so,
are running
yeah.
Anger decks.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to play blue. I wanted to play something that kind of countered Anger, but I like playing physical beatdown, really just beatdown decks, and I didn't want to play like Anger myself or anything like that. So I didn't want to lean into Blue Enlightened, which levels up. I wanted to just stay at level 1 and counter their anger and beat them down. So Boo level 1, great, absolutely great level 1. High power level, good for physical beatdown, and then the mastery just adds more modifiers and an extra block sometimes.
Sure. Why don't you tell us what blue Divinity Mastery does, since it's kind of one of our new cards here.
Yeah, so once per combat, after you make a successful attack with a blue style card, you can stop the next physical or energy attack, and it can stop focused. Um, the cool part about this is it's you may, so you don't have to use it on the very next attack, but then it kind of turns off the ability where you have to make another successful blue attack to be able to block the next attack afterwards type idea. So there's these weird corner cases where your opponent's like, well, I'll throw an attack to trigger the mastery, and you're like, well, I'm not going to use it, and then you kind of take it, and then you hit them with another blue attack, and then it's on again. You kind of play this cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
So that part's really fun. And then the big part of the mastery is when your opponent's anger is at 0 or 1, all of your attacks deal +2 stages and +1 life. So this this part where you want a bunch of blue attacks that trigger the first part, the second part, you don't need to have blue attacks. So you can kind of play a good mix, I find, with this mastery.
That's a fair point. I think it kind of just, I mean, it's all of your attacks, so it's not just blue ones. So it works for
Yeah.
everything, which is nice.
Yeah, and blue has some cool energy attacks as well, so you can have your energies do a little bit of stages, kind of like a Black Trunk Saga idea,
Yeah,
where you use your energies to get them a little bit lower and then hit them with the physical.
absolutely.
As far as what this is doing, it's kind of camping level 1 mostly to be able to use these cool new blue spec ops drills. Whereas when you're lowering their anger, you're milling them, or when they're gaining anger, you're milling them. And then Blue Serenity Drill was really nice for prevention and adding a little bit more anger lowering. And then just the standard card draw drills. That was the whole non-combat package, other than Fatherly and Expectant, which aren't everything.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're always gonna run those, or
Yeah,
most things are gonna run them.
yeah. Earth Dragon Ball 7. I've seen Chuck do miraculous plays with this, so it put me on to trying it out in a lot of decks, and I've just been absolutely in love with this card lately.
Yeah, it's a great card.
It's especially if you're playing drills, you can just put the drills on top, place them in play and say go. And yeah, and then I absolutely love Dismal Future. It's it's made Boo a little bit better, which is annoying because Boo's one of the best personalities to play with Dismal because he doesn't draw cards or search. So he's just very good Dismal personality. And then having the blue energy transformation to go get a battleground kind of helps you go get Dismal. It's funny that a searching card is very good to go get Dismal, which turns off searching.
The irony in that is almost beautiful.
Yeah. So the only cards that Dismal doesn't work with is Blue Terror, and Blue Terror is so good. I'm not going to take it out of the deck. Like
Right,
even if
yeah.
you're only looking at the top 6 cards, who cares? Energy attack, look at the top 6, put one in your hand. That's still good.
That's still
So
pretty playable.
yeah. As far as the blue attacks, I'm playing, Crushing Blow
I
as
love to
just
see Crushing Blow in here.
yeah. It's really neat because if they're playing Goku Sensei, this kind of helps you get around it a little bit, just
Yeah.
because you can lower, the cards unaffected by it. And then Knockdown was very good. Um, it was kind of one of the last cards I added because there's, a lot of good stuff that you can add, and it doesn't lower anger. But it ended up being really good. Um, like Blue Colossal Throw, which I'll go to now, which is like you can, if this is successful, you can go get another blue card. So sometimes just like I would discard the blue knockdown to use the blue Colossal Throw to go get the blue knockdown again, so that I still had it to be able to power me back up. And then just good blue lower anger cards like Sledgehammer, Round Throw, like those were really just useful. Um,
Yeah. And as you're
blue
seeing from a
one,
handful of
go
those too,
go ahead.
like they have pretty, like +5 and stuff.
I
It,
missed what you said.
some of those like with +5 power stages and things is a lot, especially when coupled with a mastery making them do +2.
Yes, some of them are just really big attacks, and then the mastery's making them bigger, and then Boo's making them bigger. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, like even knockdown, which like you said doesn't lower anger or anything, but it powers you up to full, which will set you to your highest bracket, and then it's also an attack for +5, +7 with mastery and a life
yeah.
card. I mean, it like that adds up so
For
much.
the not blue cards, I was playing Dragon Fist, which is just a nice big attack because I can get rid of, some of the blue energies, or even just adding Pat to Dragon Fist
Yeah.
worked out a bunch of times because I'm playing Boo. Cell's Backslap was just recycling a physical, and since it works with the mastery, it's like a physical +2/+1 as Boo, and then draw a card, just
Pretty good.
fantastic. Yeah. Heel Kick was great to target their transform cards in specific matchups. Because I did quite a bit of testing with this deck, and that's why I ended up picking it, was because it was really good in testing.
That's awesome. Nick and I mentioned that when we were looking at our like Saiyan style tier list or whatever video, where it's so important to be able to have like discard pile manipulation now because of how relevant transform is.
Yeah, for sure. And even just uh, like Quickness Drill is in a lot of decks, and Vegeta's Quickness Drill,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, right? So like manipulating their bottom of their discard pile can be really good. Um, Crushing Dive just got added for extra ally hate because I didn't want to run. I think it was like I didn't put Cell's Presence in this. Yeah, so I didn't put Cell's Presence in the Sensei deck because I kind of ran out of room, and
Sure.
so I just added an extra attack that killed allies.
Yeah, that makes sense. Made
And
more
then I
sense.
ran 4 Fury, 3 Gohan's Kick, just really good stuff.
Yep.
If this was a tough enough deck, I would cut Gohan's Kick from this deck because you're not throwing enough attacks to make it relevant to kind of get through the stop balls of that.
Sure, that makes sense.
I
Yeah, you don't have a
yeah,
huge hand, so you're just gonna hit with like 2 or 3 good ones.
yeah, and like maybe you could put it in the Sensei deck instead. It was basically there for like those super stasis Dragon Ball decks that I didn't want to get bogged down by.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then I actually ran 3 Aura Clash main deck.
Okay.
And what I like about Aura Clash in this deck is one, obviously Boo level 2's power, everything's just great, right? And then I have a couple of drills for him to go get. But it would reset their anger to turn the mastery on again
Yep.
if they were at like 2 or 3 anger.
Super sneaky
And
strat.
and then obviously if they're like a Roshi or someone that's just not good on level 2, this is just a huge advantage. And I found it was like the deck didn't have too many dead cards, so I felt like I could kind of add like this tech card in it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's super clever.
yeah. As for the block package, it's like super standard. Oh, this is kind of wonky on Octagon right now, but this is Blue Energy Slide,
Oh,
not
I was about to say.
Bountiful Harvest. Yeah, I know they need to fix that, but Blue Energy Side is stop an energy, gain an anger, lower their anger, and then if you haven't taken damage, I think it is, your stuff does more damage or something like that. But it also had endurance, and this deck sneakily has a ton of endurance in it, both from the blocks and some of the new cards having endurance.
Yeah,
Tien's block would get the drills back. Blue overpowering aura was nice to lower their anger. It's kind of like a Pycon's light catch, but also lowered their anger and has endurance. So again, just a bunch of extra endurance.
yeah, that's a great card.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that was kind of it's pretty much the whole deck. The Sensei deck was really interesting to build. It's North Kai. Obviously, 3 missed kicks came in against almost everyone.
Yeah, so good.
Just because just
Shout
did
out
so much
Retro.
work.
You guys
Yeah.
made a good card.
I'm going to skip over the next card, but Blue Energy Throw was again for anger decks or to bump them up. Like, not only did I have Aura Clash, I also had Blue Energy Throw, so
Yeah.
anything that wanted to camp 1 was in trouble against this deck.
And the
Uh,
fact that the throw works really well too for other cards that care about that type of thing.
Yep. And then like Blue Energy Slide and Blue Overpowering Aura are actually both Blue Energy combats, so you
Yep.
can discard both your blocks to this. And then the rest is very normal, just smirks, threatening position, and 3 cities. Again, I did have drills in the deck, but it wasn't like a ton. And so any deck that was running like a ton of non-combats, I would just bring city in,
Yeah.
and then I had the energy transformation to go get it.
Sure.
Now, in testing, this deck would get slaughtered by black decks, which is
Okay.
getting massacred. So I put in 2 Goku's quickness drills just to help that matchup.
Yeah, that makes sense. In a deck
And
that
yeah,
doesn't draw a ton of cards, or nearly any, this one's going to be super helpful.
yep, yeah. I had 3 in here, and I didn't have because I thought I had a pretty good Dragon Ball matchup, and then I tested against some Dragon Ball decks, and I was like, nope, Han's going back in, so I just went back down to 2 quickness drills. Did you want me to talk about matchups next, or?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
So you took this, you took this all the way to first. How did it go through Swiss?
All right, so you'll be able to help me with the first round because my first round was you. You were playing Saiyan Turles,
I was.
and you were playing like a small deck with like just trying to basically win in 1 or 2 combats.
Yep.
It was actually a crazy close game where the first combat you did a lot, like maybe 70 cards of damage, but with
Yeah,
endurance.
it was something crazy like that. 68, that was something crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot of damage, and Blue Knockdown actually was one of the cards that really helped me out there to jump back up. I struggled with saving the Blue Knockdown to discard to a Colossal Throw to try to get a block, or just using it in that, but I decided to just throw it, and hopefully you didn't have enough to kill me, which, hindsight being what it is, yeah, clearly it chose correct. And then in the second combat we did, there was like a whole bunch of Blue Colossal Throws in the discard pile, and I just chained a bunch of attacks and
Yep.
won that
Yeah,
one.
and I'm a 45, 45 card deck. All only attacks. It especially as Boo, you throw a couple of those at me, and I'm just gonna crumble up.
Yeah, I think I entered the second combat too, so I was able to North Guy to really limit your options.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Um,
a great game. Surprisingly close. I was, especially after that first combat, I was like, oh, I think I'm doing okay, and then just
yeah.
turned it around enough that it was well done. Good solid win.
Second round, unfortunately, not much to say. My opponent had to forfeit because he couldn't get any time to both
Sure.
get his deck together and play the match. So just kind of won that one by default. But round 3 was a fun one. I played against Zach, and he was playing a Piccolo non-Tokuwaza anger deck.
Yeah.
Again, like a 45 card deck. I played against 2 of them, and uh, he got his combo going, and he jumped up. So the combo is there's an orange Sensei deck only that makes all of your physicals give you an anger, and
From Bobby,
he
so.
would, yeah.
Yep.
So he would play that, and then Pickles multiform or whatnot, and then he'd play a bunch of attacks to kind of jump up to level 5 really quick. Well, I had Sensei'd in Blue Energy Throw, and when he got to level 2, I threw a Blue Energy Throw to put him back down to level 1. And because he didn't have his level 2 power, which lets you kind of pick 3 cards, and I give him one of them, because he couldn't get an extra card to be able to keep going, he kind of stalled out. And so because of that, I was able to get enough damage in and finish it.
Awesome. Well done.
Thanks. In round 4, I played against Nick with his Black Calamity Majin Poi Poi deck.
Yes.
And I got destroyed. I got absolutely wrecked. He got really early, well, not super early, but early enough Dying Planet so that everything was going to the discard pile got removed.
Yep.
I didn't realize how much that would hurt me because it didn't feel like I was a big discard pile deck, but like, yeah, not being able to TN's block the drills, not being able to, there was just a lot of bad, right? Couldn't do any of the transform stuff. My Aura Clashes were dead cards because I definitely didn't want to level him up.
Yeah, that's real bad.
Yeah, so he got to level 3. He used his power once. He did a focused physical for like 20 plus cards that were all removed. And then the very next combat, he just like entered again and threw it, and it worked, and he hit me for like 40 plus.
Yeah, it's gonna do it to anyone.
Well, I was actually still alive to both our shock because of all the endurance. Now I only had like 8 cards left in my deck, so I wasn't able to get there. But I was just like, wow, I kind of survived that one, and then I think the very next combat or next attack or whatnot, he managed to get it. But yeah, that was a brutal game. And then I managed to get to the top cut, being 3-1.
Yep.
Squeaked in like 4th place again, which seems to be where I keep ending up in top cut. And I actually had to rematch Nick because of it. And the game went completely the other way. It just seemed like I had all the answers, and yeah, just got some good physical beatdown combats with Boo. I think an Aura Clash happened. I got up to level 2, and I went to go get like a drill that milled him every time he gained anger, and I lowered his anger, and yeah, it was just a nightmare for him that game, and just a snowball the complete other way.
It's crazy how that works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Couple cards difference, and it's just the whole world.
Yeah, those 2 decks specifically, I think if you played them, if you played that matchup over and over, it would always be a snowball in either one direction.
Yeah,
because either Poi Poi's going to get to his level 3 and do his thing, and it's going to be over really quickly, or like he's not going to, and he's just going to, because he's so low power level, he's just going to be in trouble the whole time.
Yep. Yeah, I can't imagine that being like a close game in either direction ever. It definitely sounds like 2 kind of polar opposite sides of intent, I guess. They're both going to do their thing, and one or the other is going to suffer for it.
Sure. And then got to the finals. I played against Shaz, which I had never played against before.
Yeah, shout out Shaz.
He was playing Trunk Sword, which I had also never played against before.
Yeah. And with Trunk Sword. So cool.
Really cool deck. Like I said, I had heard about it. People talk about it all the time, but I'd never actually played against it. Yeah, the game was wild. Just right out of the gate. He got some early drills to turn all his sword effects into secondaries, like instead of if successfuls. And then he played 2 Trunks Finds the Answers, which lets you go get 2 Trunks cards, right?
Yep.
So he had 1 card left in his hand, and I'm assuming he's going to pass and rejuvenate, and he enters. And he goes to get like a sword name card with Trunks' power, so he's got 2 cards now. And I'm holding Majin Buu's Fury. And I'm feeling great, because I'm going to draw 3 cards. I've got Buu, I've got a Fury, it's going to turn off his non-combats. At worst, He's going to have 2 Trunks cards and 2 other cards, right? So
Yep.
I'm going to be okay. The card he was holding was Confrontation.
Oh
So
man.
he opens with Confrontation, gets rid of my Booze Fury. I've got like 3 attacks. I don't have any blocks. And so I do get some damage in, but it's just like a wave of Trunks sword slices and speedy flights, just tons and tons of damage is coming in, and it was just brutal. And later on in the game, he's got like a whole bunch of drills. It's looking very dire. Um, I believe 2 of my City and Turmoils have been discarded because I had sensed them in, knowing that it was going to be a drill deck. And I managed to draw my last city. I put it in play. It turns out he only had 2 Tree of Mights, so there was no way for him to get rid of it.
Oh
So for the rest of the game, city stayed in play, and from there I was able to bring it back.
yeah.
Um, I had turned off his mastery at some point, and he used something to level, which discarded his drills. Now, lo and behold, to me, that wasn't as big of a deal because he couldn't get rid of city, right? I was like, okay, good, city's in play, and all the drills are gone now, and fantastic. But yeah, he kind of knew that the writing was on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it went right down to it. Really great game. I know you guys have a recording up on the
Yeah.
League YouTube if anyone wants to watch it.
Yeah. I'll link that in the description for this one. It was a great game. Just having it was really cool to see someone new to the league uh, in his like first big event show up, make it to finals. It was awesome to see like such a classic deck like Trunk Sword make it all the way to the end too, and then to see like a new school deck like Blue NZ1 Boo thing, uh, like that was just a really cool dichotomy of seeing old school versus new school, like really fighting it out. And it was a great game.
Yeah, I made it a big sticking point every time I was an NZ card or something to just really explain the card because I thought he might not know the entire new
Yeah,
card pool, right? Yeah.
well, that's awesome, man. Congrats on the first place win.
Thanks.
Some really cool games were played. I got to watch most of them, and be directly involved in one of them. But
Yeah.
it was a great run. Round two is what it is, but otherwise, it's really cool. And the deck is awesome. It's super sweet to see Divinity getting some love. I think this is a really cool mastery. I think it kind of always has been, and it's awesome to see it getting some limelight.
Yeah, I really like it. The extra block and damage, like conditional damage, is really fun to play around. It's hard to remember the block sometimes when you haven't played it
Yeah,
often. But yeah, it adds a lot. For stuff I'd change, I mean, I'd obviously add blue 1-inch punch from NZ6
hey, shout out One
because
Inch Punch.
that card is amazing. I don't know what I'd take out, but I'd figure it out somewhere. I also think this could be a cool tough enough deck. You just use Ari tough enough instead, and um,
I can see it.
yeah, I think you could still make that happen. Uh, the drill package felt just okay. I think maybe you can make a version without the drills, and then maybe not worry as much about camping level 1, but having the drills to go get with your level 2 when you aura clashed was really good. So
That is cool. That's a
yeah,
cool, a nice, clever combo there.
yeah. Also, if you're gonna get rid of the drills, you'd get rid of blue lunge, so it kind of opens you up some
Yeah,
slots there.
yeah, it gives you quite a few extra slots there. Was that
Yeah,
10 slots? Like, be pretty good.
yeah,
Well, man, thank you so much for going through this profile with me. Um, it was awesome to hear how the deck did and to get to kind of see it again and hear it directly from the creator. That's neat.
yeah. It was a really fun one to make. A lot of the blue decks I've been making have blue enlightened in them, so this was very different
Yeah,
and in a good way.
they Enlightened and Divinity are surprisingly different builds. And it's cool. It's just cool to see it fleshed out and make some waves. Well, guys, thanks for joining us. For anyone who's stuck it out to the end of this. We appreciate you being here and just listening in. We'll have, like I said, we'll be doing these for each of the main events going forward the rest of the year. And stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching.